So now we're going to see our very first program that involves a conditional branch, but it also has several other new things involved too, and I wanted to go over those. Up here at the very beginning, before we even get into the setup function, see that we have 4 lines of code. In the first one, we identify that the red button is going to be attached to pin number 2, and the red LED is going to be attached to pin number 7, the green LED is going to be attached to pin number 8, and the blue LED is going to be attached to pin number 9. Now I'm identifying these as variables right now. In particular, they're integer variables, and the reason for this is because it's going to make the rest of the code much easier to read, and it's also possible that we might want to change the pin connections, and if so, then we only need to change this one line of code. For example, maybe the red button should move to pin number 3, in which case it would be very easy to change this to pin number 3. I'll undo that now, but if rather than having to go through and change every single place that pin number 3 had appeared. The other thing that we've got here is this constant, and the constant keyword there simply says these numbers, although they're technically referred to as variables, they're actually not variable. They are going to be fixed throughout the entire program, and if any other part of the program tries to change these pin assignments, then it's going to cause an error to occur. So we've identified red button pin 2, red LED pin 7, green LED pin 8, blue LED pin 9. Inside of setup, we say, oh, we're going to go ahead and set up the red button pin to be an input. Now the program is going to know red button pin, what was that? Oh yeah, that was pin number 2. But no longer do we have to keep track of that. We just say whatever pin the red button is attached to, that should obviously be an input. The red LED pin, that should be an output. The green LED pin, that should be an output. Blue LED pin, that should also be an output. So already we can see that using these constant integers has really made our code easier to understand. When we get down in here into loop, we're going to have another variable. This one's going to be called red button state. Now red button state is going to be set by the function digital read. So when we're going to read whatever is the signal attached to red button pin. And so whatever that red button pin is, if it's high or low, that's going to cause the red button state to either be set to a 1 or high or to a low, which is 0. Then we're going to simply have 2 commands here. It says if the red button state is low, remember that means the button has been pressed, then we're going to write a high to the LED pin. And if red button state is high, which means the button is not pressed, then we're going to write a low to the red LED pin. So we're just simply going to copy. If the button is pressed, we light the light. If the button is not pressed, we don't light the light. And if you're being very efficient here, you would say, oh, you didn't need the green LED pen or the blue LED pen. There's 4 wasted lines of code here. I'd say, okay, yeah, I can accept that, but those lines of code are going to be valuable to us in the next couple of programs. And so here you can see that we have expanded our circuit. Not only does it now have the multicolor RGB LED on the right, but over here on the far left we have a red push button. The red push button is attached by this wire to pin number 2, and the RGB LED is attached to pins 7, 8, and 9. And you can see that I also have a couple of wires here to attach the power and the ground between the Arduino board and the breadboard. This wire attaches the 2 ground strips so that I can attach to either one of them. And over here you can see that there's a wire and a resistor and the push button, and then this is the connection between that to the Arduino board. And the program is not too complicated. Anytime that I press this button, the LED lights up. So press the red button, you get a red LED. It's not very impressive, but you know, we're still pretty early on. We're going to do some pretty impressive stuff before the semester's over. Heck, we're going to do some pretty impressive stuff before the day is over. But for right now, you can see that for the first time we have conditional branch. We have the opportunity for the computer to respond to an input coming from the outside world.